Well, today's topic, Sandy, is so frustrating when it comes to dating. It's ghosting and how to let somebody down without ghosting them. Thank you so much for joining us again on Second Act TV. Once again, I'm welcoming back Sandy Weiner, the author of Choice Points in Dating, and well, dating coach extraordinaire. Sandy, thanks for being here again.
Thank you so much for having me, Silke. I always love being with you.
Well, today's topic, Sandy, is so frustrating when it comes to dating. It's ghosting and how to let somebody down without ghosting them. So let's jump right into it. If somebody actually doesn't know what ghosting is, let's briefly explain what we're talking about here.
Yeah, so this could happen when you're first connecting with somebody on an online dating site, or you're actually dating, or even in a relationship. It's
Mhm,
when somebody just stops talking to you. They stop
mhm.
responding to texts and emails, calls, social media messages, and they just disappear, like
Mhm.
Casper the Friendly Ghost, but not very friendly.
No, it's terrible. And, again, it psychologically, it can be so harmful. And Sandy, why do people ghost? Let's explain that as well.
Yeah, so people ghost for many different reasons, but primarily they do it because it's more comfortable for them to not have a confrontation of any kind. They feel it's best to just disappear rather than communicate how they really feel.
It's so devastating when you're ghosted because there's no closure. You don't know what happened.
Yeah, it leaves you with so many questions. What did I do wrong? What's wrong with me? What could I possibly have done to make this person disappear? And again, it's not usually your fault, and there could be something that you have no idea what's going on with the other person. Like
Mhm.
they could be busy with other people. They could be dating a lot of people. They could be terrible communicators. They could be people who have actually told people they weren't interested and been knocked down for it. So they feel, well, maybe it's better to just disappear. And it's become so common that it's almost expected that
Mhm.
if you don't feel a connection, you just leave.
So how do we let somebody down without ghosting them? What do you tell your clients? How do you approach this?
Yeah, there are many things we can do rather than just disappear because
Mhm.
I think we should treat people in the way we want to be treated. And if you want people to not ghost you, then don't ghost them.
Yeah.
And so if you are really sure that it's not going to work, don't put it off. That's the first thing. Like, don't put off telling them, don't wait 10 dates in to make sure because I don't know, maybe I'm going to like them more, even though they've got tons of red flags and it's just you're turned off and it's not going to work. So the next thing is to tell them that you don't feel the connection you're looking for
Mhm.
and you want to move on. Be really, really clear.
That's where people are just like they don't know what to say. We're going to talk about maybe some specifics, but like what you just said, is let's don't avoid the conversation. Have it as soon as possible because the longer you wait, the more uncomfortable it's going to get. You said here another point: don't apologize when you do give the explanation. Why is that?
It's weak. I mean, you're going to lower your position when you apologize. If
Mm-hmm.
you really don't feel a connection, just you don't feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Dating is mostly no. It is not going to work out
Yeah.
almost all the time. So we go in thinking we have to connect with everybody, or we have to be the one who's going to tell
Mm-hmm.
them we're not interested. But the truth
Mm-hmm.
is, it's not going to work most of the time. So don't apologize. Just state your truth. Be really
Yeah.
clear.
Well, and then when we do take it, or if you take that action, you have the courtesy not to ghost. The other point you make here: don't engage if they don't take no for an answer. That's a really, really great point.
Yeah, a lot of people will get angry at you and they'll
Mm-hmm.
say, but oh, please give me a chance. I thought we had a connection.
Mm-hmm.
They're not respecting you. And so you've stated your opinion, you've stated how you've said it, and you will state it kindly, and we'll talk about how to do that. But if a person just keeps pushing back, and I've had people say some really horrible things to me,
Mhm.
then block and delete their number. This is not somebody, you don't want to fight with people. This is not,
Mhm.
we're not there to teach people lessons. This is so much of what goes on in online dating. Women feel they have to school men, men feel
Mhm.
they have to school women in how to behave. No, block
No,
and delete. Done.
block and delete. Yeah.
Goodbye. Move on.
Yeah, see, I think that's a great point because there's really two sides to ghosting in that sense. It's the one who receives it and the one that does it, and trying to meld these two to where it is something that's courteous and considerate. Because if you do, if somebody does give you the explanation, takes the time to explain, then yeah, don't argue about it. Just accept it and actually be grateful. I actually had that happen to me. I'll talk about that a little later. To be a little bit more specific, our viewers, often say, well, what can I say? How do you do it? Give me a script. And I ran across a few that I wanted to run by you because I felt this could be good, this could not be good. I think it's a great thing to talk about to get us all thinking a little bit of how to make these uncomfortable conversations or hold these uncomfortable conversations. The one here, I don't feel this is going anywhere romantically, but I would love to stay friends.
This makes me laugh because so many people say, I want to be your friend.
Mm-hmm.
Do you really? So you need to ask yourself that. Do you really feel that you want to collect a friend every time a date doesn't work out? Now,
Yeah.
in very small percentage of the
Mm-hmm.
time, there could be a friendship,
Mm-hmm.
but don't say it unless you mean it. It does
Yes.
not make it better for the other person. It gives them false hope that you're looking for friendship. And, if one person is attracted and the other one isn't, it's probably not going to work out anyway.
Yeah, I agree. When I read that as the number one, I was like, this is like this is the worst thing you could say.
I
You're not,
agree.
yeah, you're not being sincere. And as you said, it's false hope. Don't ask
Mhm.
to be a friend unless you really, if unless you mean it, like Sandy said. This one here, I thought it was so. I'm not in a position in my life where I can be in a relationship right now. I've realized my commitment is to other things at the moment. Well, then why are you dating? I mean, this kind of what's your opinion there?
So sometimes people start dating and they don't realize it when they're dating until they've actually started dating. Or that could be a lie, because if
Mm-hmm.
they met the right person, they probably would make them a
Right.
priority, but sometimes not. So, yeah, you should probably not be dating, but there are a lot of people out there dating who should not be dating. People who
Yeah.
haven't gotten over a breakup or the end of a relationship, people who are still grieving terribly for the loss of a spouse or a
Yeah.
significant other. And it's not our job to tell them, hey, you know what, you shouldn't be dating. But I've shared this story before that I dated somebody who was too busy to date, but he was dating. And so I just called him on it and I said, listen, you don't seem to be prioritizing
Mm-hmm.
relationships right now, and that's okay. But I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to date you
Yeah.
because I'm looking for something else. So
Yeah.
there's a way to say that.
It's funny. It reminded me when I was dating, and it was right before I launched Second Act, and there was a couple of guys I was dating, and I said that I said, I just don't want to go down this road because I'm starting a project and I don't want to worry about what anybody thinks about it. I want to be able to say and do what I want, and that was true. However, to your point just a few minutes ago, I wasn't that interested. So yeah, it's okay. Maybe it's one guy thanked me, goes, thanks for letting me know.
Yeah.
Thanks for saying that. And, I enjoy being with you. So there is appreciation. If that appreciation isn't there, then what we said at the beginning, you don't have to apologize. Just don't ghost.
Yeah, and you also learn who a person is by how they hear these
Right.
statements. But I want to say what you just shared, you're saying I want to do this without hearing feedback from anybody that I'm dating. You could have had pushback from some of the guys
Yeah.
saying, "Well, I won't give you feedback.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be nice," but you
Yeah.
really weren't interested in dating them. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're giving an excuse that isn't 100% true, then be ready for somebody to push back and then you're going to have to explain more.
That's a great point, Sandy. Great point. The pushback. So here's one where you eliminate the pushback. And I think this is a really good one. I've actually decided to start seeing someone more seriously. So I'm no longer casually dating. I think that one is great if it's true.
Yes. So there are people who say that and they mean it. And there are people who
Yeah,
say that just to get you off their
they're bad.
right, go away. So I think that if you would say that, I would say it a little bit differently. I would probably say I've started seeing somebody more seriously, and I'm going to focus on that person and close my profile. I don't like I'm not going to date casually anymore. Maybe you weren't dating casually. Maybe you really were dating seriously. So I've started seeing somebody and I want to focus on that person, and I wish you the best of luck on your search. Always end with good wishes, but be really clear, be really concise, and close the door so that person doesn't reach out again.
That exact thing happened to me. I've referenced this date a couple times before. It's when I turned into the gal that could run off a guy in 10 days. And he finally said, I've started dating somebody else. And we actually met. He was so sweet and sincere that we actually met one more time and talked about, we had fun, but there's somebody else in the picture now. And I felt good about that afterwards. It was just such a good thing to do. Now, I'm not saying everybody has to go to that extent, but speaking from experience, being let down by somebody you wanted to go down, relationship road, maybe. You can maybe let them down and not hurt them terribly.
Yeah, I've had clients who found somebody who sparked their interest. They hadn't yet met the other person, and so they just reached out and said, you seem great, but I did just start seeing somebody and I don't know where it's going to go. Yeah. But I am going to focus on that.
I think he was trying to get me off his back too.
This crazy woman who's losing a guy in 10 days.
It really was. It was so funny. I mean, I know now that never would have worked out anyway. But that is one I look back on and I just laugh because I've done so many. I did every mistake in the book with this, and maybe I should write a whole chapter on it.
I know. Well, it makes you such a good hostess because you can share your experiences.
Here's a few more that I thought are good. Maybe we'll combine them here a little bit. I really don't think we have a lot in common, that I don't see this, progressing into a romantic relationship. Well, that's a good thing to say if that's what you're seeing. I'm looking for someone who follows a similar lifestyle. I love going on it. I would say I enjoyed going out with you yesterday, but I didn't feel the spark, that kind of stuff. Those are all good. I wouldn't say, I really like being with you, but because that's, what do you think?
I have an issue with all of those.
Okay.
The one, I really don't think we have a lot in common. I don't see this progressing into a romantic relationship. Somebody's going to push back and say, what do you mean we don't have a lot in common? You don't know me that well. I think we do have a lot in common. So anytime you open up the possibility of somebody pushing back, we're so different. Yes, but opposites attract. You can argue anything. Telling someone I don't feel the connection I'm looking for. That is all I would say. So I liked meeting you, but I don't feel the romantic connection or the spark. Don't look for instant spark. Somebody's going to push back on that. So when you say, I really enjoyed meeting you, the thing with the similar lifestyle, how do you know? And why is that a problem? So just say, it was really nice to meet you. And unfortunately, I don't feel the connection I'm looking for. And I wish you all the best. I would keep it to that. I don't feel the connection, not the spark, we have all these things in common. You don't have the look I'm looking for. We don't have the same lifestyle. You don't eat vegan like I do. I mean, really, those are not things that are relationship breakers. You don't feel a connection. That's it.
What I'm realizing is I have a real need to explain. That's why I thought those were good. And it is. If you take nothing away from this segment, don't explain. You don't have to. What you have to do is not ghost.
Just
Yeah.
be clear, just be
Yeah.
firm, clear, but don't over explain. And when you start getting into the weeds, you open up problems.
Hmm. Hmm.
And you do not owe anybody an explanation, especially if it's at the beginning.
Well, in closing, then, Sandy, what would you add that we haven't already said?
I think the only other thing that we didn't cover is whether to text or call or do this in person.
Good point.
And I think that it depends on how much time you've spent with this person. If you're
Hmm.
still in the texting stage, like on an online app or something, and you haven't even met yet, but you really feel no connection, then text. If you've been on like one date, two dates, you can text. But if you've been on several dates and the other
Hmm.
person really felt that there was a connection, I would make a call. I would say that for the most part, doing it in person, I wouldn't do that unless you really have been in a relationship with that person.
I mean, again, for me in closing, just don't do it. Don't ghost. You can hurt somebody irreparably. I mean, it's just a horrible thing to do. So, Sandy, we will link to all of your information. You have a new course coming out again, or a course you bring up, intermittently. We usually have it in our show notes. Tell me about that real fast.
Yeah, it's an online dating course. It's for women only. Sorry, guys. And it is for women over 40 who are looking for guidance in online dating. It is one of the most confusing things to do on your own. I help women for the last 15 years to find love online, and it's called Find Love Online After 40.
Well, and we, depending on when somebody sees this, we'll always keep it in our show notes and see, if it's on or off. But yes, it's coming up just around the corner. So, Sandy,
Mhm.
again, thank you. We will link to all of your information, to your website, to your book, Choice Points in Dating, and I look so forward to having you back again soon on Second Act TV.